What's up, faithful? Kris Kocurek is a loyal man. I love it. We're going to talk about this. The news just got posted about half an hour ago. Let's get right into it, man. I ain't going to waste no time. Let's drop the intro and get right into it, baby. I'm hyped up. I love Kris Kocurek. Yeah, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? How are we feeling tonight? Drop a dub in the chat because we got to get a dub for this one. Kris Kocurek, the 49ers defensive line coach, he was getting offers from the Texans. As D'Amico Ryans, he went over. He's the new defensive. He's the new head coach of the Texans, right? He was our defensive coordinator, and he's trying to recruit an all-star cast for the Texans coaching job, right? So one of the guys that he was trying to get was defensive line coach Kris Kocurek. They had interest in him, but the sources, according to Aaron Wilson, that Kris Kocurek says, I'm going to remain with the 49ers. And also it says that the 49ers could potentially receive or Kris Kocurek can receive an upgraded salary or job title. So this is a huge dub for the 49ers. Kris Kocurek, as we know, has been an awesome coach for this team, a phenomenal defensive line coach. And they almost pulled him away from the Niners, D'Amico Ryans. But this tells me that, hey, the 49ers are going to do everything they can in their powers to make sure Kaseruk is happy. And, they might give him a salary increase, may change his job title, who knows. But he's staying with the Niners, and it's amazing. But, D'Amico is trying to get Niner coaches. So they also have interest in the 49ers defensive passing game specialist and secondary coach Corey Unlin. So they're also trying to get Chris Harris. Maybe they're interviewing a lot of these guys, these coaches. So Chris Harris is another guy that the 49ers are interested. They interviewed him last Tuesday for their defensive coordinator position. Obviously, they haven't made a decision, but D'Amico's going after everybody on the 49ers roster, and he's looking at coaches that are very similar in what Kyle wants, because these guys run the same system basically, right? Why change it up? D'Amico wants to bring his system, implement it for the Texans, but luckily for the 49ers, they keep Kris Kocurek. This is a huge dub, man. Because imagine you lose Kris Kocurek. That's huge because he is the guy that's going to be able to implement this wide nine defense. You lose him, you lose all the development of guys like Drake Jackson and, Kalia Davis next season. A lot of young players on this D-line, and it's so vital to keep Kaseruk. So I'm so happy. This is best news of the night, Throwback says. It is definitely the best news of the night. Big dub. Susan says, would have been a huge blow to lose him. 100% would have been a huge blow to lose him. So I'm so happy the 49ers did not lose Kris Kocurek. Oh, my God. What do you guys think? How are we feeling tonight? Kris Kocurek, major dub. I was a little stressed. I saw the news update. We were live with 49ers First Takes, and I see the news, and I'm like, oh, my God, hold up, guys. This is news. We got to talk about it. So I think tomorrow they're going to announce it. I have a feeling we're going to wake up to some breaking news. RA says, so Steve Wilkes is the DC. It's not official, but just the way it sounds like, to me, it sounds like Steve Wilkes is going to be the guy. Obviously, they said, according to Ian Rappaport today, he says that they had a very lengthy interview. To me, that's a good sign. When you're sitting there and you're having a long interview with someone, you really want to make sure that they're the guy. You're picking their brain, you're asking them their questions, and you're figuring everything out. So my prediction is tomorrow morning, we're going to go and have breaking news. Steve Wilkes will be the DC for the 49ers. That's my prediction. I could be wrong. I could be absolutely wrong, but I'm going to make a prediction. It's off season. It's all about making takes. It's all about making predictions. You're sink or swim. You're going to be right or wrong. My take is tomorrow Steve Wilkes will be hired as the next 49ers defensive coordinator. And I think it'll be a good move. But we'll see. We will see. So RA says, I want the Niners to get Daron Payne. So do I. So do a lot of teams. A lot of people want Payne. I think he's going to be very highly sought after. I think he's probably going to command $20 million in the market a year. So will they have the money to sign him? I don't know. Would I like him? Hell yeah. I wish there wasn't any salary cap restraints. But if Payne is a guy that the 49ers could get, it would be a home run signing. I agree. But he's going to be expensive, and there's going to be a lot of teams that want him. So Kelvin says, I really wanted Wilkes to bring Brian Burns, but I know that's not going to happen. Hey, you never know. But I agree. If the 49ers were to get Wilkes, I would love to get Brian Burns. Imagine Bosa and Burns. Quit playing with it. Sal says, it's been a while. Finally made a live stream. We've been doing this every day, baby. We've been going live every day. But, yeah, it took me a little while to get back. I was sick for a while. And, got to do what I do. I was live with Aaron earlier. So we just came on live to talk about this, Kris Kocurek. But, yeah, man, I'm hyped up. I hope you guys are hyped up. Kris Kocurek is back. This is a big dub. 49ers have had 2 big dubs in the last few days. Trent Williams is returning, and Kris Kocurek is returning. 2 huge dubs. This week is starting to trend up. So we'll see. Sal says, great show with Krug. Appreciate you. Next up, Jesse and Grant. We're working our way out, my boy. We're going to keep grinding this offseason no matter what. I love you guys. Thanks for the support. Appreciate that. Me and Krug, we're going to be doing our shows every Monday from now on. So it's good, man. I felt it was nice. I like Larry. He's a great guy, and it's a great opportunity. So for myself and him, and I've wanted to do something with Larry for a long time. So I'm happy. I'm blessed to be working alongside Larry on Mondays. So Hendrick says, is anybody leading candidate for DC? I think it's Steve Wilkes. If there is a candidate that's a leading candidate, I think it's Steve Wilkes. Again, he's got the experience. He's been a coach before, head coach. He's been a DC before. And what we talked about is Kyle, I feel, wants a guy that he doesn't have to hold her hand and just they can give the defense to him and say, hey, go coach him up. I think Steve Wilkes is the guy. So R.A. says, if you can have one free agent player right now, who would it be? It'd be Deron Payne. That's the guy. Susan says, was the Krug show on his channel or yours? It was on his channel. I think we're going to rotate it weekly, but it was on his channel today. Larry Krug show. We talked about Brock Purdy and a couple other things. We talked about the Joe Montana situation, saying he wants Jimmy. But it was mainly about Brock Purdy's update this morning and, how he's still, mulling decisions. But it looks like he's trending towards having the 6-month repair and not a Tommy John. So we discussed that a lot today. So Hendricks says it would be Davenport for me. Not a bad option, actually. Again, there's a lot of good options out there. I just think that personally, Wilkes has the experience that Kyle is looking for. But again, Davenport would be a good option too. No Border Sports, what's up, man? Sal says draft a third quarterback or get a vet. It's so tough because I don't think that the vets out there are really strong enough. Obviously, you got 2 quarterbacks that are young, not healthy. I think they're going to draft one regardless, whether they get a quarterback vet or not. I think they're going to draft one, no matter what. We're going to have to start looking at the draft quarterbacks, the draft, board and everything. But I think they take a late round draft pick for a quarterback. I really do. But I still think they're going to try to get a vet, Not a lot of options out there because here's the thing. Okay, imagine if they go with Trey or Brock comes back, whatever happens. Do you feel like the vet that they would be able to get? Like let's say it's a Minshew or Andy Dalton or whoever they get, Joe Flacco, whatever veteran they get. Do you think one of those guys is going to win a Super Bowl? That's what the ultimate question is. The goal is to win a Super Bowl. And to me, Kyle has been so close, but he can't do it because of quarterback. We were so close with Brock. I think they can win it with Brock, but he has to come back healthy. So it's a tough situation. It's a very frustrating position to be in because every year we're sitting here talking about quarterbacks. So, yay, Arias, is we drafting a safety? 100%. They're drafting one. But I'm going to put this man on the rumor mill. I'm going to put this one out there. I want the Niners to go and try to get Jesse Bates. He's a proven safety. He's a really good player. Might be a little expensive. He's safety for the Bengals. I like him. I think Jesse Bates would be a guy that they can go and get. And you don't have to rely on a young rookie because they don't really have safety depth. We don't know if Tashawn Gibson's going to be back. He says he might retire or he might come back. But he's going to be a little costly for a veteran. He's not going to be a vet minimum. Jimmy Ward probably gone. And then Tarvarius Moore probably gone. So right now, you have Talanoa Hufanga. That's your safety. And you got George Odom, but he's not that starting type safety. He's a special teamer. He's a core special teamer, great special teamer, all pro special teamer. But to me, they still need to go get safety. If they can get Jesse Bates in free agency, I'll be hyped up. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think they will draft a safety regardless if they sign someone or not. But I think they will. I don't know. Maybe they will try to pursue him. Be nice. I would love to see if them keep Jimmy Ward. I don't think Jimmy's staying. He wants the money and he deserves it. RA says Joe Burrow, Jesse Bates had dinner with Bosa, Debo, Kittle, Juice, and CMC. I know all about it. That's my boy that took care of him. That's my boy Moose out in Vegas. But Joe Burrow won't be able to sign with this team. Nick Bosa is going to get way too much money. But Jesse Bates is somewhat realistic. But yeah, that's his boy. Burrow and Bosa are great friends. So yeah, they hung out in Vegas this weekend at the Pro Bowl. So we'll see. Hendrick says, I want them to draft Kirby Joseph. I personally think we should keep Gibson, says Kai. I like Gibson. I think we should, but he is mulling retirement. So if he doesn't retire, I want them to stay, try to keep him. I think maybe a 1-year deal. But again, if they get Gibson and it's a 1-year deal, you still need a guy to develop under him. So they still need to draft a safety. But yeah, I would like Gibson to come back. We'll see. Yep, see, Yay Area said it. I didn't even see this coming. He says we should draft a safety that can sit behind Gibson a year or two. 100%. You see, read my mind. Chat read my mind. I like it. I love it. Read my mind. How come I don't have a super chat option? YouTube does not like me. There's a long story, but working on it. We'll get it. Don't worry. We'll get it. JC says, I want E-Man back this year. I love it. I want E-Man too. I think they're going to get him. I think his contract will be pretty affordable, unfortunately for him, because he did have the injury. But I think they can get E-Man back, 2-year deal. I think they'll be able to get him back. Who said Burrow to the Niners? Who said that? A lot. There's a lot of rumors out there on Twitter. They see the picture. People see the picture, right? Joe Burrow and the Niners. They're having dinner. Oh my God, Burrow to the Niners confirmed. It's just a rumor. I don't think it won't happen. But people see the pictures. Oh my God. Like last year when CeeDee Lamb and Debo were hanging out at the Pro Bowl. Oh, my God, are the Niners going to get CeeDee Lamb? Or is Debo going to the Cowboys? It's funny stuff. That's how rumors start. People see a picture, and they blow it out of proportion. So it's funny, man. Let's see. But, yeah, I just wanted to come on here, talk about Kris Kocurek. Great news, very good news for this team. They're able to retain their longtime defensive line coach. That's a huge dub for the team. Real quick, I'm not going to keep this stream too long. I just wanted to hop in and discuss this real quick. If you guys have any questions, we'll take a few. And give me your thoughts. What do you guys think about Kris Kocurek staying in the Bay? Love it. Gleet says, Late Night Live. You know the vibes. I had to come on here and talk about Kris Kocurek. Let's see. King Wolf says, any news on Jason Verrett? No news on Jason Verrett. He is still recovering, rehabbing after another brutal injury. I don't think the 49ers will bring him back, unfortunately. My prediction, again, it's the offseason. We're going to throw stuff at the wall, see what happens. I think Jason Verrett might retire this season. I don't think that's a bold take. He's had a lot of injuries. He's tried so hard. And it's tough, man, because he's had massive injuries. ACL tears, Achilles, et cetera, et cetera. I don't think that the Niners are going to sign him, and I don't think another team would try to sign him because of the injury history. It's unfortunate. I love Jason Verrett. Good dude. Such a very, very nice man. But I just don't see him coming back. It's unfortunate. So, Kai says it's time for him to retire. Unfortunately, it is, man. Gleet says, I hope Trey proves the haters wrong. I do, too. Trey's got a lot to prove. He's, got to step up and take control. I really hope he can step in and be the guy. We'll see how it goes. Alberto says, how did it go with the DC hire? They haven't officially hired anybody. Steve Wilkes does seem like the leading candidate. We will see tomorrow. My prediction is they'll sign him on Tuesday. Well, I think that's the move. Ian Rappaport said it was a very lengthy interview. And to me, that means it's a good sign. Right? If you're having a long interview with someone, you're trying to get to know them to make sure they're the right fit. That's my take on it. Are there any free agent offensive linemen we should go after? I mean, Orlando Brown sticks out to me. He's great, but I think he's going to be very expensive. I don't think we have the money to get him. There's a few. I had it. Let me see. I had a list of them. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Free agents. Where's my notes? Give me a second. Let me pull up this note. Let me see if I have it. Okay, here we go. So yeah, Orlando Brown. That's the guy. He plays left. He can play right. He's probably the highest paid guy on the list. So I don't know if we can. We're not going to be able to replace McGlinchey with a guy that's going to get paid higher than him. I don't think. Let me take a look at some more of these. No, it's not working. Hold up. Let's take a look. So, okay, Orlando Brown, that's a guy. George Fant, he's decent. He's a right tackle. I mean, that's definitely a guy that maybe they can slide in there. Mike McGlinchey is one of the top free agents on the market, right? But I think that we're going to go and I don't think they're going to keep McGlinchey. I know a lot of Niner fans don't want him. But to me, if we're going to go look for a tackle, I think the top two guys to be able to replace him would be George Fant or Orlando Brown. But again, they might be a little bit pricey. So we'll see. It's definitely going to be interesting because right tackle is not like a huge market. There really isn't that big of a market for right tackle. So although McGlinchey may not be, the greatest pass protector, he's a lot better than some of these other guys out there. So it is a tricky situation. But we'll see. We'll see. If it's up to me, I would love to have Orlando Brown on the Niners. I think he's going to be too expensive for the 49ers. But we'll see what happens. Jawan Taylor. I can see Jawan. Yeah, he plays for the Jaguars. I like Jawan. He's a guy. He's young. Was he like 25, 26, something like that? I like Jawan. I didn't think of him, but definitely a guy that we can take a look at. Orlando Brown and Trent Williams would be nasty. It'd be crazy. It's too much money. I wish we had another Trent on the other side too. Bleak would be amazing to see two Trent Williams in the trenches, man. God, it'd be crazy. Be crazy. But that's, to me, definitely the Niners have to upgrade that O-line and D-line too. They're going to have a lot of question marks. We'll see how it goes. It's going to be a crazy offseason, I already know. Let's see. Kai says, imagine if we drafted Wirfs. Think about that a lot. Imagine if they had Trent Brown and Wirfs. Hindsight, definitely 2020 would have been a killer draft. It would have been that O-line would be insane. Insane. Nobody would be able to get through. You have two solid tackles, nobody would get through. Be tough to break through this line. Would be nasty. But unfortunately, we didn't go that route. We had every opportunity to take them. That's the crazy part. But it is what it is. I'm going to take two more questions here, and then we'll wrap it up. Let's see if you guys have any other thoughts about this free agency season, off-season. See how things are moving. I feel like right now we've gotten some really good news the last 2 days, right? Trent Williams and Kris Kocurek. A lot better news than last week. Last week was a wild, wild week. So take a look at some of the comments, see if I missed any. Let's see. I think we covered all those questions that you guys had. Let's see. Yeah, Kai says, I like our left side. The right side needs some work. Yeah, 100%. And center. We don't have a center right now, as of right now. With this season going into the offseason, Jake Brendel is a free agent. I like Brendel. I think I'd like to see him come back. He did a good job this year. He was better than my expectations. So Susan says last week required antidepressants. Really did. And the offseason is like that. We're going to have a lot of weeks where it's just like a roller coaster. We're going to lose players. We're going to get players. We're going to lose players. The offseason is crazy, man. Kai says Brendel is gone. He's a free agent. It's not saying he's gone, but he is a free agent right now. So that's a guy that they're going to have to try to bring back. So we'll see. R.A., good question. He says, is Steve Wilks the only coach they interviewed for the DC role? No, they looked into Vic Fangio. Obviously, they didn't go that route. He went to the Dolphins, got a lot of money. They looked into Chris Harris last week. They interviewed him last Tuesday. He's getting looks around the other league, but 100% hasn't decided yet. They looked at Steve Wilks. Obviously, we talked about that. And there's a consideration for Kris Kocurek, according to Jacina Anderson, but it looks like they're going to give Kris Kocurek the Rays maybe and change his title or something, give him a little bit more responsibility. Doesn't look like he's going to be the DC. So to me right now, the top 2 candidates remaining are Chris Harris and Steve Wilks. So SG Sports Channel, Sports Talk. What's up, my boy? How we doing? Let's see. 49ers Throwback says, bring back Arden Key. He's a free agent. I like Arden Key. He did his thing with Kris Kocurek. Although he played a big role with the Jaguars. He was really nice. I feel like Kris Kocurek really changed his career around. And that's what Kris Kocurek does. We're talking about Chris. This man has changed players' lives. He takes these guys and turns them around. Remember Kerry Hyder came to the Niners? The hell was Kerry Hyder? He was great with him. He got him paid big time in Seattle, right? He turns these players and makes them very, very, very good on the D-line. So Arden Key definitely, hopefully he gave Kris Kocurek a really nice thank you card or Christmas card because he got him paid. But you know what? Arden Key played well in the Jaguars. I think it was all mental. And Kris Kocurek helped change his career around and gave him the confidence. That's what he did. He unlocked his potential because when he was on the Raiders, he was pretty much a bust. He came to the Niners. I remember when we signed him, and I remember dropping the post, and we were talking about it. Everybody was like, oh, he's terrible. He was a bust. He was Raiders trash. And he became a very solid player for us last year. So shout out to Arden Key. He's a really nice dude. I've talked to him many times. Cool dude. I'm glad he really played well with the Jaguars. And shout out to Kris Kocurek. He really developed this guy and turned him around. That's what he does. SG says, Joe Montana dropped a massive hot take when he said that he wants Jimmy Garoppolo to be the starting quarterback. That definitely was the talk of the town this last 2 days, 100%. I mean, it's weird because I feel like Joe didn't keep up with the times. We talked about that last night. Jimmy Garoppolo is a free agent. So he got Joe Montana. Somebody tell Joe Montana to follow my page so he can stay up to date with the latest news. Because Joe Montana, he must not know that Jimmy Garoppolo is a free agent. So we'll see. Kai, this is one of the last questions we'll take, but he says, I heard rumors about Carr to the 49ers. How do you feel about that? You're gonna hear rumors about every quarterback to the 49ers. The thing about Carr is he wants to be a starting quarterback, right? He's not going to take a backup job. I think the 49ers are looking for a backup guy, although any backup on the 49ers could end up being a starter, as we saw this year. But I don't think he's going to take a backup role. I think he's going to get a lot of money with other teams, the Jets, Tampa Bay. There's a lot of teams. Colts, they would throw money at him. I don't think he's going to end up coming to the Niners. That's my take on it. And again, you have to look at yourself in the mirror and say, if we had Carr on this team, would the 49ers win a Super Bowl? I don't think so. But again, I don't think he's going to settle for a backup role. I think he wants to go somewhere, start, revitalize his career and show people that he can be a quality starter in this league. So I see him going to a team with a lot of money and a starting position available for him. So we'll see. Gleet says, yeah, the Colts always get washed up old heads. That's what they do. That's what they do. Matt Ryan, Carson Wentz. That's what they do. Carr's next. I could almost guarantee that he'll go to the Colts. I could see Carr wearing that blue uni. I could see it. So T Money says, do we re-sign Brunskill? I hope so. I like Brunskill. He's a very solid, utility type O lineman. He's a Swiss Army knife. You could throw him all over the line. I like him. I think you got to bring him in because you need depth. I hope they give Brunskill a contract and keep him around. Good player. He's not an elite big time player, but he knows his assignments. He knows how to play in this system. I like Brunskill. Bring him back. I can see him. Kai says I can see him going to the Panthers. Yeah, that's a team I keep forgetting. When I'm thinking about quarterbacks, I keep forgetting that the Panthers are a team that needs a quarterback. Atlanta, there's a lot of teams. The Saints, forgot about this. Honestly, the whole NFC South needs a quarterback. Let's keep it a buck. The Falcons, the Saints, the Panthers, and the Buccaneers, they all need a quarterback. So we'll see. Nathan says Jimmy probably going to Tampa. It's a realistic opportunity. I think the Saints. There's a lot of, like I said, a lot of jobs out there on that QB market. The NFC South is terrible. It's horrible. Horrible. S Flood says, what's good, fam? Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Kris Kocurek is staying in the Bay. Thank God Almighty. I love it. Has Burford ever played right tackle in college? He did play tackle. and guard. He can play pretty much both positions. You know, that is a possibility that nobody's talking about actually a lot. Is when I talked to Burford last year in the offseason, he says he told me that he was a tackle in college, but they were training him to play guard, and then he ended up getting that starting guard spot because they didn't have anybody at that position. So they really, really wanted him to be a guard last year, although he did play tackle. But again, he told me, he was like, well, they have Mike, they have Trent. I'm not taking their job. This was him before training camp. And I remember he said, look, they're going to try to get me at guard. So you know what? That is a possibility. Slide Burford over to tackle. Not a bad idea because he is a pretty good offensive lineman overall. I think he can make the transition to tackle. I feel like he'd be well suited, but then they'd have to figure out the guard spot. But I think they could get a guard a little easier than filling a tackle because, again, tackle's a tough spot. There's not a lot of premium players on the market. Burford's on a rookie deal. That's a fucking great idea, actually. And now that we think about it, yeah, and then you can sign Brunskill and put him at right guard. That's the money. Or Jason Poe, who you have, or Nick Zakelj. You might have just figured it out. You put Brunskill at right guard. Ladies and gentlemen, we might have just figured out the offensive line. You put Brunskill or Jason Poe or Nick Zakelj at guard, or one of those guys at center. Nick Zakelj could be your center, or you bring back Jake Brendel. You get Dan Brunskill at guard. Spencer Burford at right tackle. Trent Williams, Aaron Banks. Ladies and gentlemen, we might have figured out the 49ers offensive line for 2023. That's it. We don't need an offseason. We got it. We got it. Y'all figured it out. Let's end it. We're done. Let's go. It actually sounds really good. That's it. You guys are a legend. The chat is legendary tonight. Dub. Brunskill's a free agent. Sign him back, Flood. Send him the money. Hold on. I'll write the check. Dan Brunskill, we need you starting at right guard. I'm paying you money. This is Kyle Shanahan. Okay, I love you. That's it. We're doing it. We're doing it. That's our line. That's it. I love you guys. We're going to end on a good note tonight. I love you. Hit that like button. Let's go. Spencer Burford, right tackle. I'm hyped. Let's go. Let's make it a thing. I'm going to make a trend this week. Let's do it. Spencer, right tackle. Brunskill, right guard. Sign him back. Jake Brendel, bring him back. You can mold Nick Zakelj and Jason Poe, Aaron Banks, Trent Williams. Holy shit, man. That's it. We got it. I love you guys. Have a good night. Kris Kocurek is staying in the Bay.